Derby County's Cory Blackett-Taylor was rumoured to be heading away for just the space of a few hours after his agent then squashed the claims with a tweet on Twitter, as you can see right now on screen. And to be honest with you, I was very surprised when I saw this update from DCFC Forum Updates on Twitter. And obviously the source didn't really seem very legitimate either, with it being a random account trying to spell Derby. So for me, I was never really in doubt that Cory Blackett-Taylor was staying or going. I think if you go back to last season, when he did finally get back on the grass and working with John Eustace seemed very impressed with him. And in my opinion, that's something that's obviously sort of going to be massive heading into this season. Obviously, if you look at Derby County's wing options at the moment, it is literally Cory Blackett-Taylor and Caden Jackson. So if we was to have a game tomorrow and played wingers, they would be our wingers. So for me, I was never really in doubt about Blackett-Taylor leaving, but obviously this season, there's a lot that's in store for Cory, in my opinion. I think it's going to be a massive, massive season for him. And in my opinion, this is a case of it's either going to hit or it's going to be a massive miss. And in my opinion, I think it is going to be a hit. And I think John Eustace... Do you want to win yourself the brand new Derby County 2025-26 home shirt? Well, I'm here to give you an opportunity to do that. There will be a link down in the description where you can head on over to raffle.com to join a raffle where you can win the Derby County home shirt. Ticket prices start at just £1 with a range of different discounts available. You can buy 2 tickets, get 2 free, 5 tickets, get 5 free, 10 tickets, get 10 free, and 15 tickets to get 15 free. The intention with this is to give you guys the opportunity to win a Derby County shirt for less than the valued cost in the shop. So if you haven't done so already, head on down to the description, click on the link in the description, which will take you over to raffle.com, create yourself an account, answer the question, and join this raffle. The winner will be announced on August 1st at 6 p.m. as the transfer window begins to draw to a close. So if you haven't done so already, head on over there and get your tickets. If you get the right players around Cory Blackett-Taylor, I think he's going to be incredible. And I said this when we signed him, and I've got this opinion of Cory Blackett-Taylor that I don't want to call him a luxury player because I don't necessarily think he's earned that title, but he's one of those players where you've got to let him waltz in and out of games. You go back to a Tom Lawrence, a Tom Ince, players like that, right? You let them come in and out, and then they do the best work, in my opinion. Like Tom Lawrence's best season was under Wayne Rooney, when Wayne Rooney literally just said, go where you want to go. Do what you need to do to get on the ball. And in my opinion, that is what is sort of needed. It's that sort of give him that freedom, give him that trust, that understanding. And I'm not going to turn around and say he's going to score 20 goals next season or going to have 20 goal involvements. Obviously, that would be a massive, massive change to the way he's played over the course of the last 18 months for Derby County. But I do believe that if you give him that sort of freedom, I think he will be able to find sort of the ability to be able to open doors, essentially. And you look at a player like Lars-Jørgen Salverson, who is, at the moment, is going to be our starting number 9. And you just look at it and go, if you can get Blackett-Taylor beating a man, putting in a cross, or beating a man, knocking it back to the edge of the box, and you've got a Jørgen Salverson waiting to put the ball in the back of the net, I don't think we're going to have anything to worry about. I think, obviously, we need a lot more than just Lars-Jørgen Salverson, a lot more than just Cory Blackett-Taylor. There's a lot of improvement this squad needs. There's obviously rumours that Andreas Weimann and Danny Bath's deals are literally done. It's just a case of announcements, but we've obviously got to wait for that to happen before we can start really talking about how that sort of impacts the state of play. Now, obviously, when it comes to Cory Blackett-Taylor, there's a lot of people that hold opinions about him, and I completely understand why. I completely understand the situation when it comes to Cory Blackett-Taylor, because at the end of the day, he is one of those players that hasn't really shown it in a Derby shirt yet. Now, some people are going to look back to, obviously, a couple of games in League One. There's obviously a couple of games last season where I think he was very good. You obviously look at the numbers he put up last year: 14 games, 1 goal, 1 yellow card, and 559 minutes, 401 minutes in the Championship. And obviously, it was very disappointing because every time he sort of got going and you saw that glimmer of hope from him, he picked up an injury. And obviously, this essentially season-ending one, which he picked up, was it against Cardiff away from home? Was obviously the most disappointing factor. And obviously, if you go back to 2023, I think for Derby, he got 2 assists, was it? For Joe Ward in the game against Pompey, I want to say, if I remember correctly. No, it was just one assist, sorry. But obviously a very, very good player. And when he has turned up for Derby, I think he's been one of the most important players on the pitch. When he's playing and he turns up, in my opinion, like there's nobody in the club that has the impact that he has on a game. And especially in that attacking end, you sort of look at you look at how we were last season under Paul Warne and screaming for that attacking threat, screaming for that winger. And when he was fit and available, ultimately just wasn't used and wasn't utilised, in my opinion, to the way that he should have been. And for me, that's a massive problem, because when you have a player who can be so threatening, can cause so many problems, and you're not giving them the opportunity to cause the problems, you then cause a problem with the player themselves. And whether there was a relationship breakdown or whatever between Cory Blackett-Taylor and Paul Warne, obviously I can't speak on that, but it's certainly something which I think probably maybe might have been the case. Like, they could have had a great relationship. Now, we know obviously when he came in from Charlton, I think he maybe was injured, as was reported by Charlton at the time, that he was injured and wasn't playing, and then obviously joined Derby, couldn't really get in the side, picked up an injury, played that game at Pompey, was unbelievable. Then I think he picked up another injury, started last season injured. It was just a bad run of events for Cory Blackett-Taylor for me. And in my opinion, if he can get a good pre-season under his belt, under John Eustace, obviously with some news being announced on pre-season earlier on today, Derby County at the moment have got Matlock Town, Burton Albion and Walsall. Not necessarily fixtures that I think are going to set the world alight, but it's one of those for me where if you can get that sort of systematic style of play that John Eustace wants, I don't really think it matters who you're playing. Now, obviously, we can go and see... we could go and play Barcelona, we could go and play Real Madrid, you can go and play Arsenal, you can go and play Liverpool, you can play these Premier League teams. And I'm not saying it gives you that sort of insight into how you'd sort of put up against one of the better teams in the division. But if you want to be a good team in a division, you've got to expect that you're going to be better than everybody else. That's my personal opinion. And if you do that correctly and you set up a side that can be good on the ball, can be good without the ball, then I think you won't have a problem in the division. And that's where I think someone like Cory Blackett-Taylor really comes into the equation, because on the ball, I think he can have a massive impact for Derby. If you keep him in those spaces where he's just keeping a fullback in check, keeping a wing back deep, and I think that then changes the concept of how you're then going to play. And obviously, a lot of this all depends on what John Eustace chooses to do with his formation and how Derby County choose to set up. But is Cory Blackett-Taylor going to be the answer to Derby County's attacking problems? Maybe he will be. Maybe he won't be. We don't know. Obviously, with the links at the moment, the likes of Andreas Weimann, Nathan Broadhead from Ipswich Town. There's another couple of names that have been popping up as well. Mahir Emrili just a few days ago as well. I think that's really, really important that we have the right quality around each other in order to obviously pick up those best possible players, because if you don't pick up the best possible players, what happens? You end up in a little bit of the shit, and like we did last year, battling against relegation. Now, I don't believe if we had John Eustace all season that we'd have been battling relegation, but that's a completely different conversation, and that's something which we're going to have to wait and see this summer. And obviously, we still haven't made a transfer move. The transfer window is currently closed. Although Derby County can still get deals done, they just won't be able to essentially register the player, which obviously doesn't matter given the fact that it's June and the season starts in August. So there's not really much to worry about in that regard. If Derby wanted to announce a signing today, they're more than welcome to do so, essentially. And as I'm recording this video, it is the 13th of June. No transfers have been made. You might be watching this on the 14th and a transfer is made at 6 o'clock, at which point this video gets pushed and a new video will arrive. Now, you can obviously let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Will Cory Blackett-Taylor be the answer to Derby County's problems? Let me know your thoughts down below. If you have not done so already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell, and I'll catch you in my next video.